Hey guys, welcome back to another video by Biology with Zangshan. Today we're going to do the Cambridge IGCSE Combined Science Paper 2 Multiple Choice Extended in the February-March 2023 series. This is variant 2. Alright, let's do this. Okay, so two pieces of potato are cut exactly, have the same mass and shape. Okay, the mass is measured and recorded. One piece of potato is in water, it's concentrated salt solution. They are both left in 1 hour. The mass of each piece of potato is then measured again. What happens to the mass of each potato? Okay, so this is osmosis. So higher water potential to lower water potential. So as more water molecules go in, the mass of the potato piece will increase. And if you put in a salt solution, the potato piece has a higher concentration, higher water potential, and it has a lower water potential, therefore it goes out, so it will decrease. The answer is C. Okay, under which condition is an enzyme described as being denatured? So it considered denatured when the shape of the active site is permanently changed. So once an enzyme's active site is changed, it therefore cannot be used anymore. Okay, which two nutrients are needed for healthy bone and tooth development? So tooth development would be vitamin D and calcium. Okay. Question 4. The diagram shows organs in the human body, which two structures carry both mechanical and chemical digestion. So it's basically thinking that they're doing both, So, okay, this is chemical digestion. And here is also mechanical. Here also has a chemical one because there's salivary gland, so they secrete amylase. And for the stomach, right, it contracts and relaxes. So therefore the answer is B. 2 and 3 cannot. Liver cannot do any cannot do any mechanical digestion. And then for pancreas, they only can do chemical digestion. So the answer is B. Okay, question 5. Which statement describes a feature of the root hair cells of plants? So they say, what's the feature of it? So, okay, it cannot be A. They have partially, not fully permeable. This is correct. They have partially permeable cell walls. No, it should be membrane. So this is wrong. The answer is C. They have large surface area to increase water uptake by osmosis. Okay, which statement about all arteries is correct? All arteries are. Okay, the reason why A is wrong because pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. So it's not. They have many valves. No arteries have no valves. They have no white lumen. They have no lumen basically, and they transport blood away from the heart. So the answer is donkey. Okay, the table shows the differences in the composition of carbon dioxide, oxygen, and water vapor for inspired and expired air. Which row shows the most likely composition for human and inspired and expired air? Okay, inspired. Let's see for carbon dioxide. So, carbon dioxide usually inspired has lesser. So, this will be off. There's either this or this, B and C. And then for inspired, it should be 21 inside and 16 out. So the answer is B. Okay. Alright, question 8. Adrenaline is produced by the adrenal glands in times of, definitely has to be stress. Okay, so stress in targets vital organs, increase the heart rate, not breathing rate, which increases the delivery of oxygen, and something to the brain. They need glucose. Why do they need glucose? Because they need aerobic respiration. Breathing rate also can, but glycogen is not. Glycogen is already stored glucose, and it only comes out when there is a lower blood glucose concentration. So the answer is A. Okay, which chemical is involved in controlling the growth of plant shoots? Auxins. Okay, auxins is the only hormone that controls growth. Okay, question 10. The diagram shows a section through the flower, which row identifies the label parts of the flower. So Q is a stamen, it's a stigma. So the answer is B. Okay. Question 11. Where does fertilization take place? It's at the oviduct or the fallopian tube. A. Okay, this is just whether you know your parts of the female reproductive system. A woodland consists of trees, other plants, and animals. Which term describes the woodland and the interaction of its living things with each other and the environment? I mean, this is between population, and the environment. So this would be ecosystem. Okay. Okay, the concentration of nitrate ions in a lake increases. Why does this result in the decrease in the number of fish in the lake? Nope. It has an increase of decomposition of producers. There's a decrease in the growth of producers. Nope. There's an increase in aerobic respiration by decomposers. Yes. There's an increase in dissolved oxygen. No. So the answer is C. D cannot because it decreases. So once there's blocking sunlight, bacteria starts to grow. They will therefore decrease the dissolved oxygen. Okay, the structures of the three molecules are shown in the chemistry part already. How many atoms are there in each molecule? Atoms are, they say atoms connected to each molecule. So let's see. So there are 3 atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So answer is donkey. Atoms meaning like how many atoms are there in the molecule itself. So there's 3 lah. Okay, but which element reacts together to give positive and negative ions that all have the same electronic structure as argon? Okay, what they're telling you is that they can form positive and negative ion, and therefore it basically cancel out each other, So let's see. Okay, Ca2 plus, and this is Cl minus. Ca2 plus, F2 minus. And here we got Mg2 plus, Cl minus. And here we have Mg2 plus and F2 minus. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Ca2 plus, I need to see the periodic table. So the periodic table is behind. Ca2 plus is group 2 and Cl minus is group 7. Okay. Electronic structure as argon, so the answer would be A. Okay, why? Because when you draw out the configuration thing, right, Ca is 20, right? Ca is 20, yeah, correct. 20, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 will be transferred to the Cl minus. So Cl minus is 1, 2. Chlorine. Chlorine is 17. Okay, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17. Oh, there's one more layer. So there's one more layer also, and then they transfer 2 electrons. So basically you have to draw the electronic configuration. They must have the same electronic structure as argon, meaning they must have the equal full electronic configuration of an argon atom lah. Okay, so the answer is A. Okay, question 16. The diagram shows an experiment to electrolyze dilute sulfuric acid, which statement explains why bubbles form at the positive electrode. So this one, oxide ion lose electron to form oxygen. Nope. Hydroxide ions lose electrons to form hydrogen. Nope. They actually gain electron. Okay, this one they gain. This one they also gain. Hydroxide ions lose electron to form oxygen and water. Hydrogen ions gain electron to form hydrogen. Nope. So the answer is C. Okay, because oxygen is one that does bubbles, and then water is definitely the another product from the hydroxide because it comes from OH minus. Okay, the reaction between aqueous lead-2 nitrate and dilute sulfuric acid produce insoluble lead-2 sulfate. Which ion does not change in the reaction? So this is a PbNO3 2, and this is H2SO4, and this will produce PbSO4 2. So which ion does not change in the end? So the ions, meaning like inside here is got Pb2 plus, and then we got NO minus 3, and then this is H2SO2 minus 4, and this is H plus. Then we also got Pb2 plus, and then SO4, then 2 minus. Okay, so the answer here would be, let's see, so the NO minus 3 did not change, it remains the same, and H plus also remains the same, because you see, lead-2 sulfate is basically combining this one and this one. This remains the same, so the answer is A. Okay, which arrow represents the activation energy for this reaction? Activation energy meaning is like usually the one that goes up. Okay, so the answer for this would be A. Okay, basically when it touches the peak usually, okay, from the reactants. Okay, which statement explains the effect of temperature on the rate of reaction? So high temperature, more particles have sufficient to overcome the activation energy. Yes, correct. And this is not less frequently. So more bonds are broken. No, this when it's effect of temperature, right? When increased, it becomes an exothermic. So it's more bond forming. At lower temperature, no. Temperature and concentration do not affect each other. Okay. The equation for one of the reactions that occur in the blast furnace is shown, which row identifies the oxidizing agent in this reaction, explaining its role as an oxidizing agent. So, oxidizing agent meaning that it oxidizes another but it reduces itself. So, let's see. Okay, this oxidizes itself, but then it reduces. It reduces to Fe. So, the oxidizing agent would be iron 3 oxide. Okay, so causes the carbon monoxide to gain oxygen. No, to gain oxygen. Yes, correct. That's what it gets is O2. Okay, it forms an O2. So the answer is C. It doesn't lose oxygen because 3CO to 3CO2. So there's an increase in oxidation or increase in oxygen. Okay, my bad. Okay, which solid reacts with sulfuric acid produce a gas? Copper cannot, because you need copper itself. You need to make copper oxide, only you can react. Copper carbonate, yes, can. Why? Because copper carbonate and sulfuric acid will form you copper sulfate plus carbon dioxide and plus water. Copper oxide plus sulfuric acid cannot, because it cannot react with each other, so cannot. Copper sulfate cannot, it needs to be because copper sulfate and sulfuric acid cannot react together. Okay, because it's the same thing. So the answer is B. Alright, some water is added to the color powdered mixture. After shaking, a blue solution and a white solid are seen. So this is the process of a copper-2 sulfate in test in water. So let's see, sodium chloride and copper-2 oxide. Okay, cross out anything that says copper-2 oxide. It's not a test in water. Sodium chloride and copper-2 sulfate with some sodium sulfate and copper chloride cannot. It cannot be this. And they say it's colored. Colored meaning it has a transition metal. Sodium is not a transition metal. The answer is donkey. Okay, which row describes a noble gas? It's monoatomic and has low reactivity. So the answer is D. Okay, why is potassium more reactive than sodium? Because when it reacts easily, because it becomes much easier to form positive ion, because it's easier to lose electrons. So the answer would be B. Potassium forms positive ions more readily than sodium. Alright, which color change is seen when water is added to anhydrous cobalt 2 chloride. So it goes from blue to pink cobalt 2 chloride. Okay, blue to pink. D. Okay, with next question, which statement about air pollutants are correct? Air pollutants, okay. Sulfur dioxide can damage buildings, correct. Oxides of nitrogen are harmful to health, yes, correct. Carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas, yes. Carbon monoxide can damage building, cannot. So the answer is A. Okay, which statement about the homologous series of alkenes is correct? They are all saturated hydrocarbons? Nope. They all have the same physical properties? Nope, they have similar. Their molecules have the same ratio of carbon atoms to hydrogen atoms, correct. Why? Because C2H4, it's basically, when you break down, right, its ratio will become the same later on. Okay, they all have the same molecular formula. No, they don't. Alright. Okay, next question. The measuring cylinder on a balance contains 40 centimeter cube. The reading on the balance is 30 grams. Okay. A stone is lowered into the water in the measuring cylinder until it is completely submerged. The level of the water of the measuring cylinder is now at 66 centimeter cube mark. The density of the stone is 2 grams. So what is the reading on the balance now? Okay, let's try and see. So level of the water, so initially is 40 with a mass of 30. Okay, let's see. 26. So of course we write down the formula. We use the density formula. P equals to M over V. So density of the stone, so it's increased already actually. So 2 grams to mass. Reading on the balance is 30. So we don't know what's the mass, but we know the but we need to find the volume. Okay, we draw this better. So initially this is about 40 centimeter cube at 30 grams. So now when they lowered the stone inside, okay, so I lowered the stone, this measuring cylinder has now a 66 centimeter cube mark and the stone density is at 2 grams. So there is a difference of 26 lah. So there's a difference of 26 centimeter cube. Okay, so the density of the stone is 2 grams. What is the reading on the balance now? So initially there is like 40 M over V. 30 divided by 40 is 3 over 4. So looks like it has increased by 2.66%. So 30 times 2.666 is about 82. Okay, so the answer is C. Okay, the force acting on the spring is gradually increased from 0 newtons. The spring eventually passes its limit of proportionality, which graph shows how the extension of the spring changes as the force increases. So it's directly proportional and it starts to curve. Okay, so the answer here would be B, because it's directly proportional and once it reaches there and then it curves. Okay, next question. Which object has a resultant force acting on it? Okay, a book rests on the table. Nope, no resultant force. A car traveling up a hill in a straight line, constant speed. No, this one has 0 resultant force because constant speed. A football moving upwards freely after being kicked. Maybe, correct. A parachute descending vertically at constant speed. No, cannot be. Constant speed again. So the answer is C. Upwards freely. Definitely got resultant force acting on it. Okay. So the next question, an object is falling in a vacuum. As the object falls, it passes through point P, Q, and R. Which statement describes the total quantity of energy as it falls? So its greatest point at P cannot be. Its greatest point at point Q, nope. Its greatest at point R, nope. It is the same as point P, Q, and R, correct? Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, once it's fall, so it remains the same, but the energy can be transferred, so the quantity of how much it drops, right, will remain the same all the time. So that's why it has the same point between P, Q, and R. Only when it reaches the floor, the quantity of energy will change, because there will be heat energy and all those being dissipated out. All right, 4 students have different masses. The students take different times to run the same distance up the same hill. The gravitational field strength is 10 Newton per kilogram. Which student has the greatest power? So this I will use this is mass, this is time, and this is, so you use P equals to E over T, or we can use work done over T. So it seems like I can use mass times G times height, but we don't know what's the height. So assuming that there is no height, it's just like so it'd be 10 times 50 divided by 11. This is 45.5, and the second one is 55 times 10 divided by 11. This is about 50, and 60 times 10 divided by 16, 37.5, and 85 times 10 divided by 16, 53.1. So the answer is D. Okay, greatest power. So even though they never give you the same distance up the same hill, just use mg only. No need to use the height, because they never give you the height, but we know that m and g can be equal to energy. Okay, which type of power station produces greenhouse gases when generating electricity? Power station produce greenhouse gases, meaning this has to be non-renewable energy. So the answer is coal-fired. Geothermal, hydroelectric, wind power are all renewable energy. They don't produce carbon emissions. Okay, a glass test tube contains cold water. The diagram shows a small block of ice trapped at the bottom of the test tube by a metal weight. The top of the test tube is heated. Okay, very soon the water at the top starts the test tube. But the water at the top of the test tube is boiling, but the ice at the bottom just started to melt. What does experiment show about thermal conduction? Conduction can only occur upwards. It doesn't work like this. It works throughout. Conduction cannot occur in a liquid. Nope, they work in solid and liquid. Glass is good thermal. Okay, wait, actually this conduction cannot occur in a liquid. It's correct, but it usually happens in a solid, so this cannot. And glass is a good thermal conductor. No, it's not. A thermal conductor usually is a metal, and water is a bad thermal conductor. Yes, definitely, because once the water boils, right, it already transfers energy, because water is also in contact here, so that's why the ice will melt. Okay, in which states of matter can convection occur? So convection happens in fluids, meaning liquid and gases. So the answer is B. Okay, visible light and sounds are both waves. Which will describe the nature of these waves? So visible light is an electromagnetic spectrum, one, and sense sound is sound wave. So the answer would be, this would be transverse for visible light and longitudinal for sound. Okay, a beam of consistent red and blue light strikes a glass prism. As the beam enters the prism, it splits into red and blue ray. Which light refracts more and which light slows down as it enters the prism? Okay, light that refracts more is usually what it bends more, so it will be blue bending the most. And light that slows down more will be blue also. Why? Because blue is because its frequency is going up and its wavelength decreases. Once its wavelength decreases, it slows down. Okay, so the answer is A. Okay, which circuit is used to measure the current in the lamp and the potential difference across the lamp? Okay, let's see. Current is always measured not in a parallel way. Usually it's on the circuit itself. So this definitely cannot. This cannot. Why? Because you want to measure across the lamp, meaning like this. So this immediately can reject. This definitely reject. I want to measure the lamp, not the cell. So the answer is B. Okay. 39. The diagram shows a containing 4 resistors and 4 emitters. So which emitter has the smallest reading? So we know that I1 equals to I2 for a series circuit, and parallel is I1 plus I2. Okay, let's see. Let's see A. A cannot be. Once at the start of the circuit, it always have the highest reading because I1 equals to I2. So A and D will be rejected. Let's see B and C. Okay. B. So there's a difference between one has 30 ohms and one has 20 ohms. Okay. Because when it's shared, right, the ammeter reading will decrease. So the answer would be B. Okay. C cannot. Why? Because it goes through here. Okay. It still can pass through here. It's just that suddenly here with a 30 ohm. Alright. So basically when resistance increases, current decreases. Okay. This is when resistance decreases, current increases. Okay. Last question. When the computer is switched on, the current increases quickly from 3.1 amps and then decreases to a slowly at a steady value of 1 amps when the computer is in use. The cable connecting the computer to the power supply can safely carry a current of 10 amps. The current contains a fuse. Which fuse rating used to provide suitable protection? Okay, fuse, right? You see, you can only increases quickly to 3.1 amps and then slowly to a steady value of 1 amps. Okay, when the computer is used. So it can carry up to 10, but the current only can handle a surpass about 3.1 or maybe 4. So the most suitable one is definitely 5, because why? You see 3.1 and then decreases slowly the steady of when the computer is in use. So you cannot go too low, you also cannot go too high. Like 13 amps burst already, and then 3 amps too little, and then 1 amps cannot work. So the answer will be C. Okay, so that's all for this MCQ. So I hope you understand this. It's my first time doing a combined science video, and if you got any more, just let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.